There was a time when people couldn't get enough of K-pop. It felt like the genre was on track to become the biggest global phenomenon, breaking records left and right. But today, fans are starting to agree that K-pop is in shambles. The talent is still there, but something feels off. It doesn't feel authentic anymore. And no, I'm not talking about the usual fan wars or another idol getting cancelled for breathing wrong. I'm talking about actual chaos, scandals upon scandals, music quality hitting rock bottom, fan culture becoming more toxic than ever, and an industry so focused on profit that it completely lost sight of what made K-pop special in the first place. Remember when K-pop felt fresh? When groups had their own sound? When you could actually tell which song belonged to which group? Yeah, those days are gone. Because now, every group sounds the same, scandals happen every other week, and the industry is squeezing fans dry. So, what went wrong? K-pop used to be experimental. It had variety. You could hear the difference between a Big Bang song and a SHINee song in 2 seconds. You could hear the difference between a BTS song and EXO song. Now, if I played you 5 random K-pop songs from different groups, you wouldn't even know who sang what. The industry has fallen into a cycle of playing it safe, prioritizing catchy, formulaic beats over true artistic innovation. Labels care more about following trends than setting them, leading to a wave of generic songs that blend into each other. What used to be a diverse genre full of surprises has now been reduced to predictable beats, copy-paste melodies, and a desperate attempt to go viral on TikTok. Blame it on the industry's obsession with TikTok trends. Companies don't make songs anymore, they make sounds designed to go viral for 15 seconds. Songs are literally being crafted with dance challenges in mind, rather than musical quality. The result? Music that feels disposable. Something to stream for a week before moving on to the next trend. Remember when K-pop had bridge sections? When the production was insane? When choruses were built up to feel like an actual climax? Now it's just verse, pre-chorus, drop. No storytelling. No emotional payoff. Just the same recycled formula over and over again. And the auto-tune? Oh buddy. Some idols sound like Siri with a voice filter. The days of raw live vocals are fading, replaced by over-processed, pitch-corrected performances that make every song feel robotic. The industry no longer focuses on vocal excellence, just what sounds good enough to be consumed quickly. Let's be real, if you blurred out the members of half these 4th-gen groups, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. The same AI-generated visuals, the same perfect styling, and the same vocal tone. Everything feels like it came out of the same factory, with no room for individuality. Groups used to have distinct concepts and unique sounds, but now, it's all just the same recycled formula with different faces. Gone are the days when a group could have a signature sound. Instead, labels are too afraid to experiment, forcing idols into a mold that prioritizes marketability over authenticity. The industry is terrified of taking risks. Labels don't want an idol to stand out too much, because that might disrupt the group's perfect balance or make them harder to market. Instead of nurturing individuality, they create manufactured clones. Idols who fit a strict mold, designed not to push creative boundaries, but to maximize profit. This results in groups that feel more like commercial brands than actual artists. Every concept, every outfit, and every song is meticulously crafted to be safe and digestible, ensuring no one deviates too much from the formula. And what's the result? A K-pop landscape that feels increasingly stale and uninspired. Fans aren't blind to this, they crave uniqueness, but companies keep serving the same aesthetic, the same choreography, and the same generic sound. The lack of risk-taking is making K-pop boring, and if the industry doesn't start embracing individuality again, fans might start looking elsewhere for excitement. Groups aren't encouraged to explore their unique musical identities because the industry prioritizes what sells over what's artistically fulfilling, and in doing so, they're slowly killing the magic that made K-pop so exciting in the first place. K-pop always had a weird obsession with controlling idols' personal lives. But it's worse than ever. Companies force idols to act like they're single forever because apparently their fans will have an emotional breakdown if they find out their oppa or ani is dating. And let's talk about fan culture. K-pop fans are spending thousands of dollars just to collect photo cards. Literal pieces of cardboard. Streaming is no longer about enjoying music, it's a full-time job. Fans set alarms, organize streaming parties, and dedicate hours just to ensure their favorite group tops the charts. If you don't stream 24/7, you're not a real fan. And when idols do date, the internet implodes. Death threats, boycotts. I can't believe they betrayed us. What betrayal? You don't know them. Some fans even go as far as demanding public apologies, forcing idols to write handwritten letters as if they've committed a crime. This level of obsession has turned fandom culture into something toxic, basically, like a cult. Idols are treated like characters in a fantasy world, expected to be flawless and forever available to their fans. But let's be honest, it's getting out of control. The industry feeds into this parasocial relationship because it profits from fan loyalty. But at what cost? Idols live in fear of normal human experiences, and fans lose touch with reality. At some point, K-pop fans need to ask themselves, are we supporting idols, or are we suffocating them? How many apology letters have you seen in the past year? How many idols have been cancelled over something ridiculous? At this point, there's a scandal every other week, and it's exhausting to keep up with. Some scandals are serious. Issues like bullying allegations, company mistreatment, and idol exploitation deserve attention. But others? Completely blown out of proportion. An idol says one slightly wrong word in an interview and suddenly their entire career is at risk. They're forced to issue a public apology, bow in front of cameras, and sometimes even take an indefinite hiatus over minor misunderstandings. And let's talk about how companies handle these situations. One day, they completely ignore a controversy, hoping it will fade away. The next day, they're making idols write handwritten apology letters in 5 different languages, trying to please every single audience. It's inconsistent, performative, and honestly, tiring. Social media plays a huge role in this mess. A rumor starts, it spreads like wildfire, and before you know it, thousands of people are demanding an idol's removal from their group. Even when claims turn out to be false, the damage is already done. K-pop scandal culture thrives on overreaction, and companies fuel it by constantly playing defense instead of standing by their artists. At this point, it feels like being a K-pop idol is walking on eggshells. They can't express personal opinions, joke freely, or even make simple mistakes without triggering a massive backlash. And with scandals happening so frequently, it's hard to tell what's actually serious and what's just another case of overblown internet outrage. Let's be real, the industry sees fans as walking ATMs. You're not a supporter, you're a customer. Every move the companies make is designed to extract as much money from fans as possible, whether through constant comebacks, overpriced merchandise, or endless album versions with random photo albums, overpriced. Not just a little, but ridiculously expensive. Sometimes with multiple versions, forcing fans to buy several copies just to collect all the photo cards. Comebacks? Rushed. Instead of focusing on quality music, labels push groups into back-to-back releases just to keep the hype cycle going. Concert tickets? Insanely expensive. Prices keep going up, and VIP sections are basically reserved for those who can drop thousands of dollars. Groups don't even get time to rest because companies milk them dry before moving on to the next big thing. The moment a group loses momentum, they are discarded, and a fresh batch of trainees is rolled out. Idols become disposable commodities rather than artists with careers meant to last decades. And don't get me started on luxury brand deals. At this point, some idols are more models than musicians. Instead of honing their craft, many idols are funneled into brand endorsements, appearing in fashion shows and promoting expensive handbags. While there's nothing wrong with making money, it's clear that for some companies, the focus has shifted away from music entirely. The result? Fans are getting fed up. They're tired of being treated like an unlimited money supply, and many are starting to question whether supporting the industry is even worth it anymore. K-pop used to have a strong grip on teenagers and young adults, but those fans are growing up and moving on. Many people who got into K-pop during the second and third generations are now in their late teen or mid-late 20s or even 30s, and their priorities have shifted. Life responsibilities, changing musical tastes, and even disillusionment with the industry are causing many longtime fans to step away from the genre. Unlike Western music industries that evolve with their audience, K-pop remains stuck marketing itself almost exclusively to young teens. Companies continue pushing bubbly, high-energy concepts and heavily manufactured idol personas, ignoring the fact that their original fan base is no longer in that age group. The result? A growing disconnect between older fans and the industry. Even newer fans aren't sticking around as long as they used to. With the rise of short-form content like TikTok, attention spans are shorter than ever, and K-pop's reliance on quick, viral trends is making it feel more disposable. Instead of forming deep, long-term connections with groups, Fans jump from one viral moment to the next, leading to shorter fan cycles. Meanwhile, older fans who once felt a strong emotional connection to idols are starting to feel alienated. The industry still expects them to behave like obsessive teenagers, but at a certain point, life moves on. If K-pop companies don't adapt their strategies, offering more mature concepts, meaningful music, and a reason for longtime fans to stay invested, they risk losing an entire generation of loyal supporters who once helped build the genre's global success. There was a time when every new group felt special. Now, there are so many debuts happening every month, it's impossible to keep track. The problem isn't just the number of groups, it's that most of them aren't bringing anything new to the table. Too many groups are being formed not out of passion or artistic vision, but because companies want a piece of the profit pie. Every entertainment agency wants to debut the next big thing, hoping to ride the wave of K-pop's global success. But in reality, only a handful of groups actually break into mainstream success, while the majority struggle to stay afloat. Many disband within a few years due to lack of traction, while others fade into obscurity, barely making an impact despite the effort and talent involved. This oversaturation is making K-pop feel stale and repetitive. Instead of focusing on developing unique concepts, companies rush out new groups, each one sounding and looking eerily similar to the last. The competition is so fierce that even talented idols get lost in the shuffle. Fans barely have time to form attachments to one group before another dozen debut with similar styles and sounds. And let's talk about quality over quantity. Some of the most legendary K-pop groups took time to develop their artistry. Their concepts were carefully curated, their music evolved, and their performances were distinctive. Now, we're seeing quantity over quality, where new groups are pushed out at a relentless pace with generic concepts, weak discographies, and rushed promotions. The industry needs to slow down and prioritize originality. If K-pop keeps flooding the market with copy-paste groups, fans will eventually lose interest. And if companies don't realize this soon, the genre risks burning out. K-pop is built on perfection. Perfect visuals, perfect bodies, perfect performances. But here's the truth. Perfection isn't real, and the industry's obsession with it is doing serious damage, not just to idols, but to young fans watching from the sidelines. From the moment a trainee enters the system, they are pressured to look a certain way. Many idols undergo plastic surgery before they even debut, with companies subtly, or not so subtly, encouraging procedures to fit the ideal K-pop look. Double eyelid surgery, V-line jaw contouring, nose jobs. These are not just common, they are expected. Some agencies even include plastic surgery clauses in contracts, forcing idols to undergo procedures as part of their debut preparation. But it doesn't stop at surgery. Extreme dieting is the norm. Idols are put on strict meal plans that barely meet daily calorie needs. Some are told to survive on one meal a day, or even just water and an apple. The pressure to maintain an unrealistic body shape is so intense that some idols collapse from exhaustion, while others openly admit to struggling with eating disorders. The scariest part? This is all normalized. Fans praise idols for their dedication, without realizing the suffering behind the scenes. This culture of perfectionism seeps into the fan base, particularly among young teens. Fans see their favorite idols looking flawless and assume that that's the standard they should meet. They compare their natural faces to idols who have had multiple surgeries and professional styling. They compare their bodies to people who have been starving themselves for years. It creates a cycle of insecurity and self-hate, especially among teenagers who are already vulnerable to body image issues. And let's not forget filters and editing. K-pop idols are often photographed and filmed under perfect lighting with heavy airbrushing to remove even the smallest imperfections. Many fans don't even realize they're looking at altered versions of reality. The skin isn't that flawless, the waist isn't that tiny, the jawline isn't that sharp. It's all part of the illusion that the industry has carefully crafted. South Korea has seen a massive rise in cosmetic procedures among teenagers and young adults. Some fans even save up money for years just to get the same procedures as their favorite idols. The industry doesn't just promote beauty, it profits from insecurity. The impact? More and more young fans are turning to plastic surgery clinics to achieve the K-pop look. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you love K-pop exactly the way it is. What do you think? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your take. And if you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.